What's up, guys? Alright, so today I bring you a review of the Star Wars Black Series Dark Trooper from The Mandalorian, and just to get all this out of the way up front, I don't actively collect Black Series stuff. I just don't. When it comes to Star Wars, I prefer the 3 3/4 inch stuff because it kind of melds into my vintage collection stuff that I have, you know, my old school 80s ships and things that I already have in my collection. So if I pick up new Star Wars stuff, it's usually going to be from the vintage collection, or sometimes I run across some older figures like from the Saga series or, you know, 30 Years series, things like that. But I usually stick to 3 3/4. Now I do have like 20, 25 Black Series figures that I've picked up over the last, you know, 5-6 years, something like that. Mostly just some troopers that I thought looked cool. I've got a Darth Vader, a Mandalorian, a Boba Fett, a General Grievous. Just a few hand select ones that I thought were cool, but it's not something I actively collect. So I go to Target, I'm checking out the toys, don't really see anything there. Going to leave, cut through the little Star Wars section that they've got kind of cordoned off. And, you know, looking through the vintage collection stuff, see a few new things and think, because this Target hasn't had anything new in like 2 months. And so I look down towards the bottom of this area where they keep the Black Series stuff, and I look down and see like 15 of the new Mandalorian with Grogu and the Ice Spider. Not interested in that because I've already got what I think is the perfect Mandalorian. So don't need that. And again, not really interested in Black Series stuff that much. And then in the mix of all the other stuff they've got going on back there, there is one lone Dark Trooper. And I'm like, okay, well, this wasn't something I was looking to pick up, but when I get there and I start to take a look at this guy, I realize he's actually pretty cool looking. And I know it's hard to tell there in the nice bright shiny lights coming through on the packaging, but I took a look at this guy and I was like, damn, I think I'm gonna have to pick this up because he actually looks pretty damn cool. So we're gonna crack this guy open, we're gonna see what we've got inside, and then we'll see what I think of it. Alright, so we got him out of the package here, and real quick we'll go over accessories, and it's kind of hard to tell on camera, but he's got a couple of fisted hands here. Don't know how well you can see that, but look pretty decent. We do also have a couple of rocket effects there that you can plug into the bottom of his feet. So if you've got like a flight stand or something that you want to mount him in and have him flying, you could pop those in the pegs on the bottom of his feet and make it look like he's flying. And of course, we do have a gun here. Pretty basic gun. I know I've seen this gun before. I'm pretty sure I have anyway. Pretty plain Jane there. We do have just a little bit of paint right there. Just a little silver dot of paint for some reason. The only paint on this thing, but we got that. Alright, so let's get to the figure here really quick. And I'm getting Baroness vibes from this. Maybe it's just the shiny black on here. I don't know what it is, but I'm, you know, very similar to the Baroness, which was done up in all shiny plastic with some matte black there. To make it look a little bit more like armor and everything. And this is really cool. I really dig this. You know, I gotta say, when it comes to Hasbro, it does seem like when you look at figures like this, when you look at figures from G.I. Joe classifieds like Baroness, it really kind of feels like they are putting way more time and attention and detail and effort into original sculpts into those lines than they are into Marvel Legends, which I know is a big complaint. Granted, Marvel Legends comes out with far more figures than, you know, these other two lines combined, but I mean, this is nice sculpt and nice detail here. I mean, it just looks great. You know, you've got the bullets around the legs, you've got the paint here with the silver, other than just the nice shiny black. You can even see the pistons in here are painted silver. You know, you've got the red eyes there, which look fantastic. Love that. You know, everything got some nice details on the back here. Hands are well detailed there. Looking good. We've got our trigger hand here for his gun. You know, we've got the belt there. We've got this piece right here, which is kind of a soft piece. Kind of curious what it looks like underneath there. Also his cod piece and his ass piece are also a softer plastic, which I'm sure helps with articulation there. He does just have single jointed knees and elbows there, but he's a droid, So doesn't bother me, honestly. And of course he's got these this odd kind of articulation here for his wrist, again, because he's a droid, so just like the elbows and the and the knees, he's got that kind of single joint there. And then of course he's got rotation on the hands. Arms come up, you know, pretty decent there. His head is on a ball joint, so you can get some tilt and rotation and all that kind of stuff. He's got that upper torso joint there. You know, he's got hips that come out. So I don't usually go over a whole lot of articulation on these figures, but with this one, I know a lot of people are going to be looking at it, so I wanted to go ahead and just kind of show you some of the stuff it does. And then very similar to the wrists there, the ankles just have that one big hinge there, but then there is also some rotation there, depending on what you want to get him into as far as positions go. So, I mean, good articulation, great sculpt. I know there's not a lot of paint on him per se, because it's all just molded in this shiny plastic, but I'm fine with that. So with the good sculpt and the paint where it needs to be, looking pretty good, I gotta say this is a great figure. Honestly, it really is. This is a good, solid figure, and I think it works well. This is one of the best, probably, droid figures I have seen in the Black Series line, and they usually excel at droid figures pretty well, as far as I'm concerned. So, all right, we got him set up. Let's go ahead and do some comparisons here and see how this guy stacks up to some other figures. All right, so here we have him with some other Black Series figures. We got one of my clone troopers, Darth Vader, Boba Fett, Mandalorian, General Grievous, one of the Shadow Troopers, and Dark Trooper fits in perfectly here. I like that he's one of the taller figures here. In fact, really the only figure that's taller than him that we've got here is Darth Vader, which makes sense. Darth Vader's always been kind of a big guy. He should be a little bit taller than everybody else, even somebody like the Dark Trooper. But I like this Dark Trooper is slightly taller, or in some cases a lot taller than everybody else here. I think he fits in perfectly. This is going to look great on a Black Series display. All right, so let's talk about price here real quick, and no need to sugarcoat this. This guy ain't cheap, okay? He retails for $32.99, all right? Plain and simple, $32.99. Now, after tax, and depending on where you get him, you might have to pay shipping. Man, you could be paying anywhere from $35 to $40 for this guy. That ain't cheap, okay? So the question is it worth 35 to 40 bucks? And the simple answer is no. I mean, it's just not. I mean, there's not enough here to make it worth $35 to $40. This isn't a deluxe figure, okay? He comes with a couple of fists, he comes with a gun, and he comes with rocket effects. He doesn't even come with a flight stand. They give you rocket effects for when he's flying, but he doesn't even come with a simple, cheap plastic flight stand. I mean, this is a $25 figure at best. And look, I like this thing. I think it's a cool figure. Even with older, antiquated articulation, I'm fine with it. As I said, it's a droid figure. Who cares about articulation? But this is not a $35 to $40 figure in any way, shape, or form. It's just not. Again, 25 bucks tops is what this thing should have cost. So the question is it worth it to you personally? Maybe, I don't know. Just acknowledge that you're getting ripped off, because you are. I mean, plain and simple, you're getting ripped off. This thing has no more detail or accessories or sculpt or paint or anything than the G.I. Joe Classified Baroness figure, which costs $22.99. And arguably, in fact, this thing comes with less accessories than she comes with. Uses the same shiny black plastic, everything. You know, she even comes with an actual stand, and she's $22.99. Now, there's no more work, no more money, no more investment that went into this guy than went into her. So why is he $35 to $40 and you can pick her up for $22.99 at Walmart? I mean, you're getting ripped off with this guy, period, end of story. It's a cool figure, and look, you can justify it to yourself. I don't care. I will. I mean, I like having the figure. I certainly overpaid for it at Target. 33 bucks plus tax. I think I paid 36 bucks for this thing total, and there's no way in which it's worth that much money. It's a cool figure, but it ain't that cool, right? The Baroness was a much better figure, in my opinion, coming from the same company, and costs like, 13 bucks less. So, yeah, there's a big difference here. You are getting ripped off with this figure, but ultimately you have to justify that to yourself as far as whether or not it's worth it. Look, I'm glad I have it. But I can kind of justify that because I don't collect this line. I only pick up figures every so often. Literally twice a year maybe I get a Black Series figure, and that's about it. And that's only because I think they look cool, not because I'm trying to be some completionist and collect a line or anything like that, because I just don't care about these figures enough. So I can justify it to myself that, honestly, for the first time in 2022, this is the first Black Series figure I have bought. So, yeah, I overpaid for him, but I'm okay with it because I don't spend a lot of money on this line. So that's how I justify it to myself, but I still know I got ripped off. I still know there's no way in hell this thing should have cost, as much as it did, and that's kind of what you got to walk away with. Is it worth it to you? Maybe, but just know you're paying too much for them. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to, guys. Look, I do like it. It is a good figure. Even lacking in articulation, I still think it's a good figure. I'm glad I have it, but it's just simply not worth the price point. So you just got to know that going in. But that's pretty much it, guys. Appreciate you guys watching as always, and we will talk to you later.